Morning, everybody. If you're watching in the future, today is January 15th, 2024. If I haven't seen you, Happy New Year to you, and welcome to our Blitz sessions for January. First off, starting today is going to be Kristen Fredericks going over our Microsoft Forms. As always, please raise your virtual hand, type it in the chat, or if you just can't get us, unmute and ask your question whenever you have it. All right, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Kristen.
All right, thank you so much, Tim. All right, we're really excited to bring you Microsoft Forms today. This has been a solution that's been a long time coming for us. One of the things that we've heard multiple times is you want to have a way to collect information either from your website or maybe from an e-card to be able to send out something like a survey. And there hasn't been a great solution for that in the past, but the nice thing about having the Microsoft accounts that we do are not only are they great for email, but they also come with a tremendous number of tools that you can use for your business. One of the ones that we wanted to introduce today is Microsoft Forms. Let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll go ahead and get started here. All right. So I'm going to start because I've logged into my Outlook account. This is probably the most common way that you guys have logged into Microsoft in the past. So I'm going to go ahead and start here because it's something that you should be familiar with. If you're logged into your rwtown.com email, it should look something a little like this. It might look a little bit different depending on the settings that you have. But one of the things that you need to take a look for will be these little 9 dots. So those 9 dots can be in your upper left-hand corner. Sometimes they're in your upper right-hand corner, depending on how you have your screen set up. But you're going to want to look for something called the App Launcher, which are these 9 dots. These 9 dots take you into all the different tools that are available from Microsoft. I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. So you may have some tools on your apps here if you've used different ones in the past. Some of these tools may be similar. Some of them might be a little different, again, just based on how you're set up and which level of Microsoft you're on. I know we have some staff and managers here. You guys have a few extra tools on here as well that we might use internally. So don't be surprised if you see a few extra apps in here. I happen to have Forms on my little app launcher already because I already use it. If you don't have Forms available on your kind of quick launch right here, you're going to want to go ahead and click this button right here that says Explore All Your Apps. If you click Explore All Your Apps right here, it's going to go ahead and bring up something that looks really similar to this, and you'll be able to choose Forms, which is what we're going to look at today. All you have to do is go ahead and click on the button. It's going to go ahead and log you into Forms. As long as you're already logged into Microsoft, you can go ahead and log in across the board to all your different tools. I am going to go ahead and close out my email at this time, just so we don't have to listen to it beep as we're doing some training today. Just so you know, anytime, again, you're in these Microsoft app launchers and you're in these Microsoft tools, just keep an eye out for those 9 little dots, that app launcher again. And if you click that, you can go ahead and move about your Microsoft account. So you can get back to Outlook anytime you need to. As we start to tie some of these tools together in the future, hopefully you'll be able to take some more of these Microsoft classes we have available for us. You'll be able to maybe click into Excel or click into PowerPoint as you need it, as we kind of go through all of these different tools. Once we're in Forms, it should look a little something like this. The first time you log in, and of course I've already logged into this account, it may want to give you a little quick tour. I highly recommend that you take it. It's about 10 steps. It's just going to show you where all the little different buttons are. It's going to say, hey, click here if you need to make something, or click here if you want to view your results, or here's how you navigate around. If you just keep clicking that little next button, it's just going to give you a little tour of what Forms happens to entail, and then you can get to a screen that looks something similar to this on here. Sometimes it's going to want to show you different templates that are available as well, especially if you have been working in Microsoft. It knows that you may want to look at different templates. Microsoft is famous for trying to suggest things to us all the time. So yours may actually show exploring different templates based on how you use your Microsoft account. It may try to just kind of prompt you that, hey, we have this template available that might be of interest to you, especially if you have done some, again, other stuff in Microsoft as well. I'm going to go ahead and hide the templates today just because we don't need them, because we're just going to be focused on creating a new form. So before I get started on Forms, I wanted to show you what it looks like live and in practice so that you know how we're going to build all of these different steps for today. So now that I've logged in and I have Forms, I'm just going to switch to another screen really quickly. I'm going to show you. I am on my training account, and this is my training website. So this is for Mary Agent. This is a site builder account. So for those of you who have a website through the company, of course, we call that product Site Builder. You can actually build these forms right into your website by embedding them. So what we're going to do is we can build a form in Microsoft Forms. It's going to give us a little piece of code, and then we're going to drop that code right into a blank page on our website, and it's going to show up with the form on our website. This is really nice because we can drive people to our website to be able to do things like, here's an RSVP for a spring invite party if we want to. We can create a form for anything. We have agents who are using it to collect information about things like, hey, do you want a wreath for Christmas? Or I'm going to have a Thanksgiving pie event. What kind of pie do you want? We have some people who like to use it to collect some more information about open houses. Sometimes you might be running a really specific campaign, maybe direct marketing or an email campaign, where you really want to collect very specific information. So you want to drive people to a form on your website. This is a way that we can actually create customized forms that we can embed on our website that we can use to collect that kind of information. So this is it in live form right here. So I created this, just a quick example, and I went ahead and embedded this on my website. And this is just a spring party invite. So I'm going to have a client appreciation party. I've sent out my invite, and I put this URL right here in my little e-card, and it said, hey, please RSVP to my spring party that I'm having for my clients. And I'm just wanting to collect this information. So I can just go ahead and fill this out. So here I am as Brian Beyer. And I've just asked a couple of questions here, nice and easy. The number of guests who are attending, including yourself, I'm going to say 2. And I'm going to list the people of attending other than me. So maybe I am bringing Ann Beyer as well. And then I want to make sure that I can tag people who are coming to my party. So I've asked for their Instagram and Facebook handle so that I can go ahead and at them with any pictures that might be taken. So Brian is going to say he is Brian Beyer 2345 as his Instagram handle. And I can go ahead and hit submit. That's all there is to it. So that response has been successfully recorded. We can actually change this message if we want to, and what it says right there. But the nice thing is that we have now done 2 things. One, it has collected in Microsoft Forms for us, so we can always log into Microsoft Forms and take a look at all of those different responses that have come in. We can also set up Microsoft Forms to be able to send us an email that somebody has responded. Now, Microsoft Forms, we're not going to learn how to tie this into our CRM today with some of these responses. That's going to come down the line as we continue to enhance our relationship with Microsoft. So today we're just going to teach you how to build this form and what it looks like once it's built, and then show you the different ways that you can share that form, and then how you can go look at the responses that have come in. All right, so now that we've seen it in live practice, let's go back to Microsoft Forms here real quick. There we go. And we're just going to start a new form, and we're going to try to collect some information. So once we're in Forms, we have a button right here that says New Form. Okay. And it's just going to bring up a blank form, and it's going to ask us to start trying to get some responses, get some questions in here. Here's the nice thing about Microsoft Forms. It does have an AI engine built into it. So it's going to try to continue to prompt you for questions that you might want to collect. And this is going to be based on that form title that you put in. So let's put in here something like a client appreciation party RSVP. So I want you to notice that that recommended list has started generating, and it's going to try to prompt me for questions I might want to put on this survey based on my title here. It knows this is a party. It knows it's an RSVP. So it's saying I probably need to collect some names and some other information about it. We can always add our own questions, but I do like how convenient this is. So this is trying to prompt us for some questions here. So we can see that we have first name and last name. We certainly want to do this. Something like, are you attending? Yes. And I want to collect their phone number and their email address. Notice I'm just clicking on things. It's putting a little check mark next to it over here on the right-hand side. And then how about this question? Please list the names of people attending other than you. And then maybe we'll go ahead and add that questions or comments just in case somebody has a question or comment that they'd like to add. This seems like a nice number of fields that we can go ahead and put in here. As long as we have some green check marks over here, we can hit this little button here that says add selected. and watch what's going to happen. It went ahead and added all of that to our form. So now our client appreciation party RSVP includes things like last name, first name, are you attending, yes or no? All right, we want to go ahead and change some of this information. We want to have maybe first name before last name. The nice thing about Microsoft Forms is much like other Microsoft products, it's built on the drag and drop system. So notice when I hover over this, it's giving me these little dots here. And it means I can literally just click on this and pick it up and move it. So notice I've just picked it up and I've moved it. First name, last name. Are you attending? Yes, I'll be there. Sorry, I can't be. And then maybe we have phone number, email address, names of the people attending other than you. Let's go ahead and move this one up because after the we are attending, let's go ahead and move this one up a little bit higher here. So again, we're just going to go ahead and click on those little dots. Are you attending? Yes or no? Please list the name of people who are attending. Phone number, email address, any questions or comments. All right. Notice it's trying to give us some more prompts here. We may not need any more of these in here, but notice the prompts. They're great prompts. Are there any children, number of children that are coming, any food requests, things like that. It's going to try to start prompting us for other answers that we might want to receive. If we're done with their recommendations, we don't want to see this anymore, we can always go ahead and close that window out. And it's going to let us go ahead and add our own additional questions here. So this bar right here is how we can add additional questions. And again, you don't have to use the recommended ones. It just makes life a little bit easier when we do. Maybe we want to ask the question about that Facebook or Instagram handle for our photographer. So that's going to be something like a text box. So instead of being a choice, so things like what kind of meal would you like, A, B, or C, we're going to ask for a question that's going to require them to enter some text. So we're going to go ahead and put that text box in here instead. Just going to go ahead and click text. And notice that it's starting to build that question for me. So it's going to ask me, what do I want to ask? So I'm going to say something like, we will have a professional photographer. Please enter your Instagram @ so we can tag you. All right. And then we're going to have people enter their answer right in here. So this brings me to another option that we have on all of these different questions. Notice it's the first time we're seeing something like this. Here's where we can say, I need a longer answer. Maybe this was a question or comment box and we needed to have something that was a little bit longer than this text box. If I go ahead and choose that, notice it gives me a slightly larger box here. We also have an ability to make this question required or not. Now, this is a question we wouldn't necessarily require because it's an Instagram handle. Not everybody has it or not everybody wants to be tagged. But if we did want to make this required for whatever reason, we could just go ahead and toggle that on. And that's going to give us that little asterisk on those forms to say, yes, you have to enter this information before we can move forward. These options are going to be different per question, and I'm going to show you the different options that we have here as well. Anytime you see the 3 dots on an individual question, it also means that you have the ability to add some extra information. And again, this is going to be based per question. So for example, let's just look at the subtitle. All right. We could add a subtitle with more information on here as well. So maybe we can limit this question to say, enter your Instagram @ so we can tag you. Maybe our subtitle becomes, we will have a professional photographer at the event. So we're just giving more information on here as well. We could also say something on this subtitle like, you can enter more than one at. So maybe it's a husband and wife. We want both of them. We want to be able to tag them both. They could certainly both enter their little ats right in that section here. Once we're done, we just click anywhere else on the screen and you'll notice that it saves that question for us. I'm going to go up so that you can see a couple of different types of things here. So here we have something like, are you attending? This is a yes or no question. So that's that choice question. And if I click on it, I can make the changes here. Are you attending? Yes, I'll be there. Sorry, I can't make it. Maybe we need to add another option that says, maybe call me. And that prompts us to give them a call. Obviously, we can go ahead and add that in there as well. Maybe it's a question that we've asked where somebody needs to be able to put in another option. We can always add an other option as well, which is just going to give us that radial button right there. And they're going to be able to put in a text box. Are you attending? We probably don't need it for this one, but we can certainly use it for other questions as well. Notice that we have a couple of options on this because, again, this is a choice question. So we can have multiple answers. Maybe this says something like that we're going to actually allow them to have more than one option on here. On an "Are you attending?" we would want to limit that to one. We can also go ahead and put "at most," and then we can also say "no limit" if we need to. In this case, we don't need a multiple answer option for "Are you attending?" But we can make it required. So we're going to go ahead and toggle that on. Are you attending? Yes or no. So we can go ahead and make some of these others required as well. Let's make the last name required. Let's make first name required. Are you attending? Yes or no. We're not going to make this one required because if they say no, then we don't need the other names, but maybe we need at least an email address. So we'll go ahead and make that one required as well. So we have our form now for our client appreciation party. These are all the different fields we're going to do. Now we're going to go into how do we style this and how do we collect our responses. Anytime that we need to see what this form looks like, we can always click the preview button. It's going to show us what that form looks like right now. So here's our client appreciation party RSVP, first name, last name, are you attending, list of names of other people attending, phone number, email address, any questions or comments, and here's that @ and there's our submit button. You can see what it looks like on desktop. You can also see what it looks like on mobile. So if you have something that has maybe a really long question to it, you might want to trim that up a little bit if it looks a little weird on mobile. This one looks great. So we can see everything looks fine here. As soon as we're done in the preview, you'll notice that we have these things that look like back buttons right here. It's going to go ahead and take us back to those that build screen. We have the ability to put some style on this. Now, that style is built again on that AI engine. So it's going to try to match your style to whatever you're putting in here. We had an agent who was doing a Christmas event. And when we clicked on style, it knew that it was trying to collect information that was based on the holidays. So our style was all Christmas and wreaths and trees and lights and all sorts of different styles. This one happens to be a client appreciation party RSVP. So if I click on the style, we have our default, but notice it's also giving me just some fun ideas that we can use on here. Not all of them are certainly going to pertain to this, but we do have some fun ones in here as well. I'm kind of partial to maybe something with a little bit of sparkle to it. There we go, client appreciation party RSVP. All I have to do is click on one of those and it's going to go ahead and change. So this is an interesting one here. It happens to be snowing where my location is right now, and the AI engine knows this. We're also in the middle of winter, so it's giving me a snow option. Believe it or not, this does change with the seasons. So this is an interesting thing with the AI engines that are built in here now. They get a lot of fun. All right, so we're going to go ahead and leave it on this kind of sparkly setting here. And notice it changed that color, nice gold color, but it didn't change any of our questions. It just added a background. So now that we've built the form and we've given it a style, let's go ahead and choose our collecting responses options. So here is a big thing. And if you take away nothing from this, you need to remember this little tip here. This is set up so that it goes in-house automatically. So this is saying only people within our network can respond. So within BHHS, if you're using this on your website or you're collecting information from the public, which 99.9% of the time we are, you need to make sure that you toggle this over to anyone can respond. That way, anybody outside of our organization can respond to these forms. It defaults to the only people within our organization can respond. We want to make sure to change it to anyone can respond. Okay. So it's going to give us lots of different options here on how we collect those responses now. So notice that we have 4 buttons up here at the top. And they are for creating a link. These are great for being able to send out in text message, send out in an e-card, to be able to put a link on something else if we need to, whatever you happen to need a link for. So you can copy this link at any time. You can also shorten this URL if you needed to. So maybe you were going to post this on social media. It wasn't for a client appreciation party. It was just for some other survey. You could also shorten that URL and get a much shorter version of it here. This always looks good on different e-cards and things like that as well. The other option you have is if you are within Microsoft and you want to send this out from your Outlook, you can actually do that automatically. So if you have somebody in your contacts already and you wanted to be able to send this out automatically with Outlook, you can go ahead and type their name up here. Maybe you have a group of people already saved in Outlook. You could certainly do that as well. And it would go ahead and send that out. Here's a fun one. You can create a QR code for this form that'll take people directly to this form. So maybe you need something for your invitations. Maybe you have marketing building you a client invitation party postcard that you're going to send out, or a greeting card, and you need that QR code. It's going to allow you to download that. Here's an interesting option though. Notice that it has a little toggle right next to it. It actually allows you to download this in poster form. So this is great if you have maybe an open house and you want to collect some information about people who are coming to your open house. Maybe this is something really specific. Maybe it's about their needs or something like that. You don't have to use this as a party RSVP. You can certainly use this to collect other information about people. This is going to print out in a kind of a poster form. This is great to put in one of those card holders at your open house, or even at your party, if you want to be able to collect information from people, if you're having a party or something like that, and you just want something that can go in a stand on a counter. This is a great option. Comes out in kind of a large postcard format. You can go ahead and download this at any time. If you want to download your QR code, you just go ahead and click that download button right there. And it's going to go ahead and download that into your download folder. And I'll pull this over here so you guys can see what it looks like. And there's my client appreciation party RSVP with my theme that I had in the background. And if you click on that, it's going to take you directly to this form once it's active. The other option we have is to embed this. So this is going to give us that embed code that we need right here in order to be able to put this on our website and embed that form right in our website. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that now, because the other options are pretty self-explanatory. You guys have all used links in the past. You guys know how to use a QR code, but this embed thing might be a little bit new. We're doing a lot more embedding these days than we ever have before as we start to tie all of our tools together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and copy this code. All right, and it's gone ahead and given me this whole code in here. It's actually a lot longer than this in this box. And I'm going to go ahead and go over to RWT Connect. So here I am on RWT Connect. I'm already logged in. I'm logged in as Mary Agent. And I'm going to go ahead and want to put this I'm going to want to put this form on my website. So I'm going to take this little code and I'm going to pop it onto a page. I'm going to go over to Site Builder. And I'm going to go to Interior Pages, because remember, Interior Pages is anything other than our homepage. I'm going to go ahead and click Add. And it's going to bring me up all the different options of things I can add. We're adding a page in this case. And it's going to want to give me a page title. So maybe we're going to do something like Client Party. And it's going to ask me what kind of page layout I want to use. In this case, just to make things nice and easy, I'm going to use this blank page. There's nothing on it. It means that we'll be able to put this code on it and it'll populate with that form, just like I showed you with that spring party when we started this class. I'm going to go ahead and hit the Create button. All right, we're going to give it a second to add. Just remember, it's going to pop up with these interior pages again. And if I scroll down, everything's in alphabetical order. So there's that client party I just added. I'm going to go to the Edit page. Remember, it's a blank page. Over here to Page Content and Advanced Editor. Now, we need to be able to get the form here. This is a little bit different. It's slightly advanced than probably what you guys are a little bit used to, but I'm going to show you how to do it. It's nice and easy. I'm going to take this Enter Custom Content here off. This is just the blank page. I want you to take a look for a symbol. Do you see the symbol right here that says source code? It has these little hash marks here. This should look really similar to your client appreciation party hash marks. Notice it starts with those hash marks over here on the left side. And if you go all the way to the end, you'll see another one on your right-hand side. That means we're going to insert that code right there. You can click on this button right here, or you can get to the exact same place by going to View and Source Code. View Source Code, okay? So we're looking for these little ticks. And all we're going to do is we are going to paste that code right here. So there's those little ticks again. It begins and ends with it. That's all we're doing. I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And there's our client appreciation party RSVP that is embedded into our website. Now, it is not live until we hit the giant publish button up here at the top. So if you're not 100% sure about this form, you're not quite ready for it to launch, you just kind of wanted to get it started, it's okay. You don't have to hit publish, but in this case, we finished with this form. We're going to go ahead and hit the publish button up here at the top. Are you sure you want this to publish? Yes. All right, so this is live on my website right now. So remember, I named this page Client Party. So instead of going to Spring Party up here, which was my example, I'm actually going to go ahead and change this up here to Client Party. And there's my Client Party invitation on my website. And if I was to direct somebody here, they could start now. Notice that it is showing the video in the background, which is really cool looking. This does show up on mobile too. And here's where all my different answers are. Are we coming? So my first name, let's go with Brian Byer again. He's certainly a party goer today. And are you attending? Yes, I'll be there. Names of people attending other than you. He's bringing Anne and George and Mark. And we're not going to enter our phone number, but he does need to enter an email address. So we'll do George Byer at fakeemail.com. And does he have any questions or comments? No. And then we can put our @ in here. There we go. And we'll hit submit. Done. So now if we wanted to actually see what this looked like on our form section, we could actually just go back to Microsoft Forms and we could take a look at all the different responses that have come in. Before we do that, I want you to see something, however. So we've shown how we're going to go ahead and collect those responses. So that's giving us all of our links and our QR codes and things like that. I want you to pop over right here to this more form settings section. And I want you to see we do have some other options here. For those of you who may need a multilingual form, that is available on here as well. So you can actually change this form to be available in both English and Spanish or something like that. You do have another settings option on here as well. So remember, we filled out that anybody can respond to that. We are accepting responses. Under the settings section, you'll also have the ability to put a start date and an end date if you need it. You'll be able to shuffle those questions. So if you don't want somebody to choose the first option all the time at the top, you can go ahead and shuffle your questions or shuffle your answers if you need to. Here's where you can customize the thank you message if you needed to. And I want you to notice that you also have the allowing the respondents to save their responses. You can allow respondents to edit their responses if they need to. But this is a nice one here. Check this box, get an email notification of each response. If you want to be notified when somebody fills out that form, you're going to want to make sure that you check this box, get email notification of each response. Otherwise, you'll have to go back to Microsoft Forms and be able to see what the responses are. If this is going out to 2,000 of your closest clients and customers, you may not want to get an email notification of every single response. You may just want to pop in from time to time until your event and see how it's going. But if this is something like a lead generation email or something that you're building to be able to collect information that you want to respond to right away, you're going to want to go to that 3 little dots for more, go to settings, and then get an email notification of each response to let you know that something has been responded to on that particular form. I'm going to go back to my forms screen here real quick. I just want to go back to the main screen so that you can see all the different forms that we've kind of built. Here's that client appreciation party RSVP. And if I click on it at any time, again, I can go back and I can edit this. I can change my fields. Maybe I find that people have lots of questions. I want to add another question to this. I can certainly do that. It's not going to change the embed code, which I do love. You don't have to get a new link. Once you've built this form stays with the link and the QR code and everything else. If you added a field to this, it's not going to change. I do want you to notice that responses button that we have here up at the top, though. This is where you have all of those different responses. It's going to give us some stats on those responses as well. We can open this in Excel. I'm not going to go ahead and do that today just because it'll take just a second to open up my Excel program on here. But if you open this in Excel, it's going to bring in all the responses to this form in an Excel spreadsheet. You can certainly use that to put into your CRM if you wanted to, create labels, be able to follow up, just have a nice list of guests that are coming, whatever you need to use it for, it'll be available here in Excel as well. You can go ahead and view results. And in this particular case, we only have one, but there it is with our results on here as well. So again, if you want to know if somebody has filled it out, make sure that you're going to those three dots, clicking settings, and going all the way down here to get an email notification of each response. If you don't want to know if somebody has responded, again, maybe this is for something that like an RSVP that you can just check from time to time. You don't have to check that box, but you will have to log back into Forms and click on the responses. One last thing here, I'm going to go over to my spring party invite that I created a couple of weeks ago because it does have 3 responses in it. I do want you to see what it looks like when there's more than one response. So in this case, I have 3 responses. I can open this in Excel. I have the different responses from different people in here. It's going to show me a couple of different stats that are available. But again, I can open that in Excel, or I can view the responses individually if I needed to. Did anybody have any questions on Microsoft Forms? I'm hoping this tool is going to be great for you guys to use in your lead gen, but also just to be able to capture more information about people, either at an open house or a live setting. I'm happy to take any questions that you have.
Rhonda has a question. Go ahead, Rhonda.
Sure.
If you're speaking, we can't hear you, so might have to type it into the chat. Does anyone else have any questions while we wait on Rhonda to type it into the chat? Removing or taking down the form when it's done.
Use the end date function on the settings to go ahead and put an end date on there so that it will basically terminate that form when it's complete.
Christian, any follow-up on that? And Rhonda, if you're typing in, we'll give you a second here. And if you're having trouble with either of those, Rhonda, just go ahead and shoot an email to training@rwtown.com. Haley, excuse me, Haley will get that over to Kristen and get that answered for you. All right. Thank you, Kristen. I appreciate you. Oh, here it is. How do I resend a form to people who have not responded?
So this is not going to function. I think I know where this question is coming from. This is not going to function quite like something like Constant Contact, which is going to send out, be able to identify the people who have not responded and resend it. So this doesn't quite work like SurveyMonkey or Constant Contact. This is just going to be for forms. So you'll want to just go ahead and get that link again and probably send out another e-card to your list or be able to eliminate people from those lists who have already responded. So this is just for that forms function. Hopefully that makes sense. No problem. Thank you.
Right. Does anyone else have any other questions? All right. Well, then I thank you all for being here today with us.